I got my wine, so y'all know what that means. I most likely got some tea, or at least some good news to tell you. Welcome to my channel. So if you are new, make sure you hit subscribe before we even move forward. So I'm gonna give you a second. Did you subscribe yet? Okay, so let's just get straight to business because I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, so I'm gonna discuss a list of things that has been going on in the last 6 months, including my biggest accomplishment, becoming a RN, okay, a registered nurse. After so many years in school, I'm finally here. So the last 6 months, I'm gonna just be discussing like my work shifts and how that's going, the long hours, 12-hour shifts, relocating because I moved to an entirely different state from where I was born and raised. Another thing I'll be talking about is the nurse residency program, and if you aren't familiar with that, I'll make sure you're familiar with it by the end of this video. Okay, and then the last thing I'm gonna discuss is just adapting in general, being away from family, etc. A little background about me. So if you are new to my channel and you don't know who I am, my name is DQ. I am an RN. I was in school for 7 years, and throughout those 7 years, I worked as a CNA. I always had 1 or 2 jobs. I've kind of always did multiple things at once. I'm kind of a busybody, so to speak. I'm always moving and grooving and on to the next thing. So basically, I graduated school in May of 2021. So we're still in 2021. I graduated in May. I had took the Nclex in June of 2021, and I passed, thank God, on the first attempt, and which was not easy. I was stressed out. So basically, I gave myself 2 weeks to study for the Nclex. I went to the coffee shop almost every day, and the days where I didn't feel like going to the coffee shop, I sat on the patio of my old apartment. And when I tell y'all, I was so dark from sitting in the sun, but I knew if I went in the house, I would have had my TV as a distraction, my laptop, you name it. So I basically just cracked down and I studied every single day for 2 weeks. I didn't even celebrate my birthday. My birthday was June 10th. I went to take the Nclex June 15th. So just imagine, like, y'all, I went to a Bucks basketball game and I took myself home, and the next morning I got up and I was right back to studying because I was like, I'm giving myself one shot and that's it. We gonna get this and we gonna pass. So it was a huge weight off my shoulders. But basically, after I passed the Nclex, things started to move a little fast. I started working right away as an RN on the unit I was already working on. So I had been a CNA for 7 years, and throughout those 7 years, 2.5 of those, last few years, I had worked as a CNA at Freighter Hospital and in Milwaukee. And I will say they taught me everything that I know. Like, I'm very confident 6 months in as an RN, and I am simply because Freighter, that was definitely my backbone. Okay, so we'll get to that. So I was working 12-hour shifts. It was exhausting. And then I was also doing my side business, my bartending. I have my own bartending company called Bartender Bay, MKE. Go follow me on Instagram. But yeah, that's something that I do on the side. Just something away from nursing. I'll talk about that in the next video or something. But it's basically just something, away from nursing so I don't get burned out early. And it's actually something for me too. I really love my business and I vouch for it. So make sure y'all go follow me on Instagram, okay? Bartender by MKE. Back to what I was saying though. I relocated. So I was working as an RN at Freighter. But I was also applying to jobs in Texas because I knew I wanted to move before I even graduated. I was doing job applications out in Texas, and I just kept applying. I didn't hear back. Like, and the places I did hear back from were like hospitals that I was like warned by a lot of people not to apply to. I won't say any names of those hospitals out in Houston, Texas, but it was a lot of hospitals that had been reaching out, but I was like, nah, I had heard bad things. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick to the hospitals that I know and I've been told are good hospitals. So that's what I did, and I kept applying and kept applying. So then I passed the Nclex. I'm working at my old job as RN, and I had said to myself, like, well, I haven't heard back from any of these jobs in Texas. So if I don't hear back anything at all, it's meant for me to stay. And if I do hear back, it's meant for me to move, because I know that God wouldn't put me in a position that he didn't feel that I was ready for. And he wouldn't bring me somewhere to just leave me. So I know this, and I know this with confidence. So I had given up. I was like, you know what? Kind of not even giving up. I'll take that back. I just kind of got like, well, if it is, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. If it's meant to happen, it will. If it ain't, it won't. So randomly one day, I get a text message saying that I had an interview for a job position in Houston, Texas. And I'm like, is this spam? And then they said they sent the email too. So I went to my email, and it was legit. Like, it was an actual like job interview. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, cause it came, for one, it came at like 8 o'clock at night. So I'm like, is this real? Like, I literally had said to myself, like, if it's meant for me to happen, it'll happen. And then bam, I had a job interview. So long story short, it went pretty fast after that. The next day I had, or 2 days later, I had my video interview. It was like over video, because they knew I lived out of state. So that was how they interviewed me. And it was 2 people who interviewed me for 2 different units. One was a med-surg unit. The other was an oncology unit. So basically they loved me, and they gave me a job like ASAP. So they told me how much I'd be making. It was more than I was making in Wisconsin. So that was another plus. So then I kind of weighed the good with the bad, and the good outweighed the bad. So they offered me the position, and this was in August. I want to say the beginning of August of 2021. So I passed the Nclex. I graduated in May, passed the Nclex in June. I was working starting in June as an RN all the way up until I moved to Texas, okay? Working as a nurse. So I got the job interview in August. I accepted the job position in August. The job position wasn't to start until October 1st, okay? So I accepted the position in August. The job wasn't supposed to start until October 1st. So I had enough time to find an apartment. I had enough time to map things out. For me, the biggest thing was finding a really nice apartment that was in a really good neighborhood that wasn't too far from my job at the hospital, because I know it's a lot of traffic in Texas. The job position that I accepted that started October 2021 was a new nurse or new grad nurse residency program position. So it's called an October 2021 cohort, which is technically the one that I'm in. And in that cohort, they basically focus on you and all the people you're hired with, which is like a group of like 20 to 30 people, and they're all new grad nurses. And basically you're on different units, and you're basically getting that one-on-one training for the first 3 months, along with seminars that we've been having to go to, which is like I think it's been once a month since I started. So there was one in October, November, and then there was just one this month in December. And then we also meet with the nurse educator on the unit, and the unit manager, the person that's precepting us, and us. We meet at least, I think it's been like twice a month, every month since I started. And I just had my last meeting last week. And basically they just track your progress to see if you need help with anything, to see if you need extra training, to see if you need just anything at all, and to see where you're at. as far as your skills, your ability to catch on, if you need extra assistance or anything like that. So that's basically what the nurse residency is in a nutshell. And the program is supposed to be 2 years long. The program that I'm in is on a med-surg unit, which is internal medicine. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically every patient you can think of. People with diabetes, people who've had strokes, people who have had heart attacks, basically anything you could think of, seizures, psych patients, dementia and Alzheimer's patients. I mean, just a wide variety of people that you see. So med-surg, for one, you get a lot of experience on a unit. So the nurse residency program is 2 years long. And after the first year, you can transfer to any specialty you want. So for me, it's up in the air. It's either gonna be like the ICU, or I might be like a NICU nurse dealing with the neonatal, like premature babies, pediatric nurse. It's really up in the air. I mean, there's so many options as a new nurse. So I got to Houston, Texas, and like the last week of September, I started my job, like I said, a couple days later. And basically, as soon as I started, we had orientation for 5 days. And right after that, I was right on the floor with a preceptor. Now, I will say this. I fired my first preceptor. I did. And it was nothing personal, but understand this. When you're in this role, this is your career. For one, you're a new nurse. You want the best person training you, okay? When I was at Freighter, I told them who I wanted to train me. Like specifically what people, because this is your career. So if you are a new grad and you're in a position to where you don't like your preceptor, or you're unsure about whether or not they're teaching you, and you feel like you could learn more, do not be afraid to ask for someone else. Do not be afraid to say, to sit and talk to your unit manager and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this person training me. I feel like I would do better with someone else. Or in my situation, I told her the way the preceptor was teaching me wasn't matching up with the way that I learned. And that was it. That's all I needed to say. And just like that, I got a brand new preceptor. It's literally that easy. So if you're in my position, do not be afraid to speak up. Do not be afraid to stand up for yourself, especially because nursing is something you work hard for. You went to school for it. You paid all this money for it. So when it's time for you to actually live up to your degree and work within your degree, you want the best experience possible. You want the best training possible. You don't want somebody to just do it. So that's basically what happened with that. So I got a new preceptor. My new preceptor, she has been a nurse for like 3 years, so she had a lot more experience and a lot more to teach me. The hospital I work at, it's slower than Freighter, because Freighter Hospital in Wisconsin was a level 1 trauma center. This hospital is just, I don't know, regular hospital. There's not really a high demand for like the patient turnaround at Freighter was like one after the other. As soon as you're discharging somebody, the room is clean and bam, you got a new admission. And granted, it happens at this hospital too, but at Freighter it happened way more often. So the hospital was way more busy and way more stressful too. So I feel like this job was like a break away from that, because I had been doing that for 2.5 years. Like I said, as a CNA, but I transitioned from CNA to nurse extern to new grad nurse. As soon as I passed the Nclex, I started working as an RN. So this hospital was a huge difference. Like I said, it slowed down by a lot. Still busy because it's still med-surg. So med-surg is med-surg wherever you go. It's med-surg wherever you go. It's just that the patient turnaround, like I could go the whole shift without getting my max amount of patients. When compared to Freighter Hospital, it was like You got 3 patients, oh, here go another one coming right through the door. So you had no time to recuperate, use the bathroom, eat, nothing. But like I said, med surg is med surg wherever you go. So it's the same thing out here. If I'm at my max amount of patients, which is 5, so it's 5 to 1. Wisconsin was 4 patients to 1 nurse, and out here it's 5 patients to 1 nurse. But like I said, the patients aren't as demanding physically from what I'm used to at my old job. So anyway, so that's basically the nurse residency in a nutshell. It's been about 3 months since I started. So come January 1st, I'll be on my own as a new nurse. I won't be training with anybody. It'll be just me and my 5 patients. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna go. A little nervous, but I'm prepared for anything. And basically, the last thing I wanted to talk about was just me adapting. Like, how has it been? And I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard being away from family, especially when you're used to seeing them all the time. I'm used to seeing my nephew, I'm used to seeing my sisters, my dad, my mom will pop up every now and then. My friends, I'm used to just going right upstairs to mess with my friend Jaleesa, or going right over to my friend Caitlin's house to cook or whatever. So it's been hard. I'm a little homesick, but more than anything, I know that moving here was definitely the right choice. And I feel like in my life right now, I'm moving in the right direction. There's been so many things that could have easily set me back or stopped me or slowed me, but I didn't allow them to. And I know God and I trust God. And I know that once again, he didn't bring me this far to leave me. And I know that the impact I'm going to make out here in Houston will be huge, bigger than I've ever even imagined. And I'm excited to see where that journey goes and what I can do, because like I said, I'll probably work med surg for 1 year, stay at the job for a year, and then I want to transition into something new, something different. I'm always up for a challenge. I'm always up for risk. So I'm really excited to see the difference that I can make in a whole nother state, and make my family and friends proud back home. And I know in healthcare, there's so much room for growth. So many different avenues to consider, so many different avenues to explore. So I'll keep you guys updated on how everything's going. But like I said, so far it's been 6 months as a nurse, and time has flew, because I keep saying to myself, like, oh my goodness, it's December already. Like, it's really December. So if you're watching this, happy holidays and Happy New Year. I look forward to giving you guys an update next year in 2022 on how my life is going as a new nurse. If you have any questions, let me know. I can always do a follow-up video, even if it's just like a small little snippet. For any questions you may have, leave them down below and let me know what you think. I'm still getting better at editing and doing videos, so bear with me. Okay, I'm a fast learner, so I'm catching on, okay? All right, take care, y'all.